This week on Supercars Talk, there's wildcard announcements galore, and Nick Percat decides he doesn't want paddle shifting. The big question on everyone's lips of who was Brock Feeney going to race with at Bathurst has been answered, and surprise, surprise, he is going to be driving with Russell Ingall in a super cheap auto-backed wildcard with Triple Eight. I think Russell was probably sitting around going, which team haven't I driven for? Triple Eight, I better have a crack with them. Surprising, he hasn't driven a car since 2016, I think was the last time he raced a supercar, which was for Kelly Racing with Rick Kelly in the Castrol colours. Did not see that one coming. It was seeing as though all the seats were basically taken everywhere, and Brock didn't have a co-drive anywhere. It was, you know, the rumours were getting stronger and stronger that Triple Eight were going to do a wild card with Brock Feeney. But we were all kind of assuming it'd be Ange Mazuris or, you know, someone a bit more current. So, Russell Ingall. Car looks awesome. At the moment, though, only one sponsor on the car, so I'm sure, knowing what Triple Eight are like, it is going to fill up with many other sponsors, possibly even some new ones for them. Ampol and that are going to end up on there somewhere. At the moment, though, that it's funny because super cheap auto cars in the past have lots been could have done better usually. That one, it's so plain, but it just looks so good. They'll be running number 39, which was a Russell Ingall number for quite a few years there. I think that relates to the year he was born. It looks good. I imagine that the car's going to be competitive, Brock's going to be competitive. It's just how much up to speed Ingall can get before the great race. In other wildcard news, it has been announced that Kurt Kostecki will be finally doing his wildcard appearances with Walkinshaw Andretti United. Essentially, these were supposed to take place last year while he was co-driving for them, but due to the whole COVID thing, they got postponed until this year. Like Thomas Randall, we will see him at the Bend, Darwin and Perth. So the grid is going to be 26 cars there. Like, hopefully there will be 26 next year. He'll be running the number 27, which is what Walkinshaw ran when they ran the Rossi and Hinchcliffe wildcard at Bathurst the other year, which is a Andretti number in IndyCar. And I assume this is in anticipation of Kurt being announced as Jake Kostecki's co-driver for Bathurst down there at Mattstone Racing. Speaking of those two extra racing entitlements contracts, as far as I know, the tender process closed on Friday, and at the moment, it is looking like it's possibly only Tickford and Mattstone Racing that have put in applications. Both of them are prepared to run extra cars next year, so I assume there's going to be 26 cars on the field. Looks like, you know, Erebus, Gary Rogers, Peter Adderton have all said they're not in a position at the moment to put their hats in the ring, and I haven't heard of rumours of anyone else stepping forward wanting one at the moment. The big issue that a few of the teams were saying was that if you don't apply for it now, when will be the next chance to get one? Or then do you have to, you know, buy an existing one off another team, and do they want to give one away? So, like Cool Drive Racing, the Blanchards, they said that they weren't in a position to run a second car next year. They want to stick with their one, so they didn't put their hat in the ring. But their problem's going to be, say 2-3 years' time, when they're ready to run that second car, will Supercars say go to 27, 28 licenses at that point, or are they going to be real stubborn and stick at this 26? And then where do you then go to get that extra license? You know, do you get lucky and Tickford wants to go back to 3 cars or something like that? There's no guarantees on it. So I think some people have looked at it as a bit of a, while we've got the chance to grab one and we can get one really cheap now, you know, let's all in and take one as they come. Nick Percat has come out on social media and announced to the world that he's against the paddle shift for Gen 3. This is where it's a real hard thing, and you listen to Below the Bonnet podcast and those guys are basically saying, we've got no idea what's actually happening with Gen 3. The teams are in a similar boat. You know, they haven't got all the information yet. They're a bit, where's everything at? And if you've got drivers coming out at the moment kind of saying like, you know, we're not sure, but we don't want to go to paddle shift. Yeah, this is... It just baffles me a bit that there seems to be so many people against the paddle shift kind of thing. And a lot of people want to go back to a H pattern, which probably will never happen now, but at least the sequentials, you still have that gear stick there. I don't get how we can get to this point with it. It should just be, okay, no one agrees that we really want paddle shift other than, you know, maybe a few people that are worried about over-revving engines, but I don't think you can do that with the sequentials the way they are anyway. So, yeah, I don't get why we're at this point and why the drivers are coming out on social media saying about that, unless it gets a bit of, you know, the plan is to get us talking about it, which we are. But yeah, it's one of those things, it shouldn't be a story really. It looks like the 2-day events are going to be here to stay. Apparently Simmons Plains worked out quite well. There was some complaints from fans about the lack of quality support races there. It'd be interesting to see how we go at Winton coming up and the Bend, how they go with supports and things like that. With their 2-day events, if you do then have support, say, running practice sessions and that on Friday, so then they can have racing for the fans on Saturday and Sunday, the teams still have to get in there Thursday and set up because they can't turn up on Friday to set up. So what you're saving in not being there for the extra day, you're essentially still there, you just can't do anything. So I think they need to run it with a more compact support category, but maybe having something a bit better than 6 super trucks running around. You know, when you got, say, Super 2 there at the same time, that adds a bigger level. If you know, Super 2 Aussie racing cars and maybe another support category, all of a sudden that brings it. When you've just got Aussie racing cars and 6 super trucks running around, yeah. If you're a trackside, maybe you would be a bit, the supports are lacking a little bit. Roland Dane has come out this week and said there are 6 drivers shortlisted to take Jamie Whincup's seat in the team. One can only assume that Brock Feeney and Brodie Kostecki are 2 right at the top of the list. But it's come out this week, whether true or not, that they are chasing Chaz Mostert for that seat, which... part of me is excited because Chaz versus Shane in the same equipment, you're going to have a juggernaut there. But there is also a part of me that goes, hey, then you're essentially taking 5 bullets out of, you know, Walkinshaw's kind of gun. Who does Walkinshaw get then to replace Chaz? To keep them up the front, because I think he's carrying that team a lot at the moment. Bryce isn't then all of a sudden just going to step up and be a front runner, and then you're a little bit limited in the talent pool. And this is where I think maybe Supercars needs someone running the show, more like, say, Tony Cochran, like Bernie Eccleston did it really well in Formula One, and there was times I think that he, behind the scenes, pulled a few strings to get drivers in at certain places, where at the moment, obviously, Triple Eight and Roland Dane, they just, they're looking at what's best for Triple Eight. They're not looking at a global kind of picture of the whole thing. And if you've potentially got the two best drivers currently in the one team, all of a sudden it weakens all of the competition, and then it's just Triple Eight going out and winning everything. That's happening at the moment as it is, but if you could bring up a young star in Triple Eight like a Brody or a Brock Feeney, and then leave Chaz at Walkinshaw, helps bring Bryce up to speed, and then that strengthens, because then it's looking a bit mouthwatering this year. You've got Waters at Tickford, you've got essentially the two Triple Eight guys, the DJR, both of them are kind of coming up, and you've got Mostert at Walkinshaw, that you've kind of at least got that kind of 6 cars that are going to be there or thereabouts every weekend, like in the top 10, battling it out for those wins. So, but if you then take Walkinshaw out of that equation, all of a sudden it makes it a bit. You got just your Triple Eight, your DJR, and then one kind of Tickford. This is where this whole managing by committee kind of thing that we've got in Supercars at the moment. Maybe, as Peter Addison said about taking over the series, maybe if you had a bit more of a puppet master looking after the show to make sure things like this didn't happen. And it might suck a bit for Chaz that he doesn't get the seat at the number one team, but for the sport as a whole, it just means that it's not all the resources thrown at one team. It's looking at the show a bit more globally. Last thing I want to cover off for this week, Mr. Dutton has come out and said he doesn't think there's a problem with parity. Of course he doesn't. His team's winning everything at the moment. Everything's fine. How is this a story? And it's hard. I don't think the parity is probably as big an issue as what everybody's saying. I mean, Waters has been very quick in qualifying. They've dropped a little bit in the race, so maybe they need to look at their race pace a little bit. The DJR guys have been getting used to their machinery and chipping away at it. The other Ford guys are not on the same level. Sorry, Slade, Courtney, Jack LeBrock, the Kellys. You're not in that top echelon. I don't think it's as bad as it seems, and essentially, if you take away Shane, the results are totally different over the season, and I don't think the parity was as bad as what they made out the last couple of years, because if you took Scott out of the equation, all of a sudden, there was a lot more different people winning. I think if you're going to have one driver that has a bit of a run, or even if it was, Triple Eight and Walkinshaw doing all the winning at the moment, everyone would just, it's just at the moment, Shane seems to be on a different level. They're just working better than everybody else. Maybe there is a slight event, but it's not massively different. So, give me all the hate down in the comments. Who do you think I'm right, or about Mostert going to Triple Eight? Do you want to just see two guys at it, battling it out for the championship, or does it interest you more if you had 4 drivers from 4 different teams, or are you just happy to see Triple Eight going out and dominating with either of their drivers just winning every race of the year? Let me know down in the comments. Supercars Talk at Gmail, Instagram. I have been extremely slack with lately. I'll try and start posting some stuff more regularly, because I am starting to get a few followers on there, which is really good. But until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.